As humans, we like to pretend that we know everything about the universe, but the truth is, we don't. Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. I'm your host Emily, and today we're counting down part 2 of our list of the top 10 unsettling signs of parallel universes throughout history we can't deny. So again, be prepared to question everything around you. Now let's get into the list. Number 10. Theory of relativity. In our everyday lives, we experience 3 spatial dimensions and a 4th dimension of time. How could there be more? Einstein's general theory of relativity tells us that space can expand, contract, and bend. Now, if one dimension were to contract to a size smaller than an atom, it would be hidden from our view. But if we could look on a small enough scale, that hidden dimension might become visible again. Now, imagine a person walking on a tightrope. She can only move forwards and backwards, but not left or right nor up or down. She only sees one dimension. Ants living on a much smaller scale could move around the cable in what would appear like an extra dimension to the tightrope walker. You know how they explain the upside down in Stranger Things? Yeah, well, it'd be the same thing. So does that mean that the upside down really exists? Because I do not want to come face to face with a Demogorgon or Vecna. Number 9. Dan Cooper. One of the most famous heists in history occurred on November 24, 1971, when a man who identified himself as Dan Cooper bought a one-way ticket to Seattle on Northwest Orient Airlines from Portland, Oregon. After the plane was airborne, Dan handed the flight attendant a note. At first, she just put it in her pocket without looking, but then Cooper told her, "Miss, you better look at that note. I have a bomb." He opened a briefcase and revealed red-colored sticks surrounded by an array of wires. He told the flight attendant to write down everything he was saying, and then take it to the captain. The note said, "I want $200,000 by 5 p.m. in cash exclusively in $20 bills put in a knapsack. I want 2 back parachutes and 2 front parachutes. When we land, I want a fuel truck ready to refuel. No funny stuff or I'll do the job." FBI agents assembled the ransom money and Seattle police obtained the parachutes from a local skydiving school. When Dan claimed his demands were met, he allowed all passengers and some of the crew to exit the airplane. He told the remaining crew to refuel the plane and chart a course for Mexico City while staying below 10,000 feet. Then, somewhere between Seattle and Reno, he jumped from the plane with the money and he was never seen again. Despite an expansive manhunt for over 45 years of searching, no conclusions have been made as to the man's identity or his fate after he jumped. It's called one of the greatest cold cases in FBI and US history, but many think he was from a parallel universe and just wanted some money. I don't know, but it makes you think. Number 8. Backwards parallel universe. A group of NASA scientists working on an experiment in Antarctica have detected evidence of a parallel universe where the rules of physics are the opposite of our own, according to a report. A cosmic ray detection experiment has found particles that could be from a parallel realm that were also born in the Big Bang. The experts used the giant balloon to carry NASA's Antarctic Impulsive Transit Antenna, or ANITA, high above Antarctica, where the frigid dry air provided the perfect environment with little to no radio noise to distort its findings. A constant wind of high-energy particles constantly arrives on Earth from outer space. Low-energy subatomic neutrinos with a mass close to 0 can pass completely through Earth, but higher-energy objects are stopped by the solid matter of our planet. That means high-energy particles can only be detected coming down from space, but the team's ANITA detected heavier particles, so-called tau neutrinos, which come up out of Earth. The finding implies that these particles are actually traveling backwards in time, suggesting evidence of a parallel universe, so there you go. Number 7. Mirrors. Mirrors are thought to be portals to another world, and some believe this is another dimension, but those who believe in ghosts believe it's a portal to the other side. Now, many cultures still hold on to their superstitions that exist concerning mirrors, ghosts, souls, and death. The act of covering your mirror overnight is something that is done in multiple cultures and across many beliefs worldwide. As Anthony Perrotta from AP Astrology explains, mirrors are often seen as a portal into the liminal space and the other world, and have the power to reflect what is happening deep in our subconscious. However, while bedroom mirror ideas are fabulous for reflecting light in the daytime, they are at their most powerful when paired with sleep, say experts. There's also a notion that if you look into a mirror too long, you can see your face distort, and there's always that thing where people are scared their reflection is gonna move when they are not. And why would the reflection move? Because it's someone from another dimension trying to copy us. Number 6. Doppelgangers. A doppelganger is a biologically unrelated look-alike or or double of a living person. You might have heard the phrase, there are 7 other versions of you in the world. Now, a study of lookalikes, unrelated people with faces so similar they could pass for identical twins, has found that such pairs share genetic traits. Scientists studied 32 pairs of individuals with uncannily similar headshots who were part of a long-running project by a Canadian photographer to document these faux twins. The 16 pairs found by computer analysis to have the most similar features also shared more genetic variants than the less similar pairs, the researchers concluded. Now, that's not a huge surprise because researchers are already using genetics to predict face shape. The fake twins did not share DNA methylation patterns, chemical marks controlling gene expressions that are shaped by our environment, reinforcing the dominant role of DNA alone plays in determining our appearance. Now, could this be an appearance of you who's accidentally in the wrong universe? Maybe. Maybe. Number 5. Third man syndrome. Sometimes when people get into really bad car accidents, there's some sort of supernatural phenomenon that happens to you. You may have heard of this as a video is now going viral on TikTok, and it's called third man syndrome, and it's an unseen presence that appears during traumatic survival situations that talks to the victim, gives them practical advice, and encourages them. Now, this has happened to many people, and we don't know if it's some sort of angel speaking to them or if it's another version of themselves from a different dimension telling them not to give up. Regardless, it is creepy. Now, under one of these posts, someone said, "As a paramedic, I can concur. Many patients swear people were there and no one's around." So, what can explain this? I'm not too sure, but it's comforting that someone is there with people experiencing such tragedies. Number 4. Shifting realities. So in 2020, there was a lot of talk on TikTok about people shifting realities as we were in lockdown. People were in realities where they were famous, were a part of Hogwarts, and so much more. But is there any truth to it? Reality shifting is a term that refers to the spiritual practice of transferring or shifting one's consciousness to an alternate reality and or the attempt to alter the reality one is experiencing and transcending one's physical confines to visit alternate universes. Now, reality shifting, also known as shifting, is a form of manifestation rooted in Buddhism and Hinduism. So it's not just something made up by teenage girls. The techniques include hypnosis, transcendental meditation, biofeedback, binaural sounds, affirmations, and subliminal stimuli. So if you can shift to another universe, then that means there are parallel universes, right? Number 3. Hadron Collider. The world's largest particle accelerator was turned on once again in the year of 2022. After 3 years of upgrades and maintenance, it immediately observed 3 exotic particles for the first time. The Large Hadron Collider, LHC, is now up and running and breaking records for the highest energy particle collisions ever performed. It's pretty exciting with the teams involved searching for more information on the so-called God particle, the Higgs boson, and signs of dark matter. And this machine could test for other dimensions. Now, how would they test for extra dimensions? One option would be to find evidence of particles that can exist if only dimensions are real. Theories that suggest extra dimensions predict that in the same way as atoms have low energy ground state and excited high energy states, there would be heavier versions of standard particles in other dimensions. These heavier versions of particles, called quasi-clean states, would have exactly the same properties as standard particles and so be visible to our detectors, but with a greater mass. If CMS or ATLAS were to find Z or W-like particle, the Z and W bosons being carriers of the electroweak force, with a mass 100 times larger for instance, this might suggest the presence of extra dimensions. Such heavy particles can only be revealed at high energies reached by the LHC, so we could potentially find out if there are indeed other dimensions. Number 2. Quantum immortality. Quantum immortality started as a thought experiment in the late 1980s and later was more fully developed by physicist and cosmologist Max Tegmark. It suggests that we can die many times throughout our lives. With each passing, our consciousness moves, slides, jumps, or shifts to the closest timeline, very similar to the one where we died. These ideas and application of the concept lie outside of the realm of science, but have been embraced by many of those who believe they have experienced such a shift. While science and skeptics may not agree, others are not so quick to dismiss the idea. There are reports of near-death experiences which validate these beliefs. Now, most people do not realize that they have jumped until later unless the event is particularly traumatic. Sometimes they can trace the shift back to a specific global tragedy or experience. Small differences are sometimes noted and the result of earlier choices or decisions in which manifest in the new reality. And coming in at number 1 are psychics. Whenever psychics tap into the spirit world, you're tapping into a different timeline as their time is completely different than it is here, so that's why sometimes predictions don't come true. This is like when the 2016 presidential election happened. They were sure that Hillary was going to win, but then she didn't. Due to this, people think we shifted timelines in 2016. Now, one reason for the sudden shift, well, back in April 2016, CERN Weasel made it into the super collider I was talking about before and chewed its way through a 66,000 volt transformer. Workers found the charred remains later. Now, that definitely could have messed a lot of things up. All I gotta say is, stupid weasel. Well, that's all for part 2 of our list of the top 10 unsettling signs of parallel universes throughout history we can't deny. Have you ever had any experiences that make you believe in parallel universes? Let us know in the comments down below, and hey, why not like and subscribe while you're down there. I'm your host Emily, and we'll see you next time. Peace. Atomic. Low energy subatomic neutrinos. Low energy subatomic neutrinos with a